did all my best to smile, me laughing to your eyes, broken love alone on your own, waiting to hold you.
Hello everyone. In this video I'll be talking about the highly anticipated Zack Snyder's Justice League, also known as the Snyder Cut. Now, and I'm gonna be really honest here. I am not the hugest Zack Snyder fan. I think his films are all style over substance, and when he tries to delve into philosophical themes in his films, it feels explored on a really thin and superficial level. And I don't like the symbolisms he used in his films because there's way in your face about it. Like they just want to see, hey, look, I put some religious symbolism in here. Look how deep this film is. And I can't stand when a film tries to shove symbolism in your face when really it's not even doing a good job at exploring the themes. It barely explores the themes. It tries to accumulate a lot of themes, a lot of characters, and a lot of subplots into it, and it's a fucking incohesive mess. That's what I think of most Zack Snyder films. So yeah, I wasn't anticipating this film. On the contrary, I was really annoyed with how many people were saying like, "Oh, this film's gonna be a masterpiece," and I'm like, "Dude, you haven't even seen the film, and you're already saying this film will be a masterpiece." Like, watch the fucking film, and then you can say whether the film's a masterpiece or not. Yeah, so yeah, I wasn't really anticipating this film, but in order to make a review of this film, I decided to watch the Snyder Cut, and I did, and I have to say, for a film about Zack Snyder, which was 4 hours long, I'm actually not gonna. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I actually kind of like it. The action scenes in those films, in every Zack Snyder film, are well crafted, are well edited, and I love how and it knows when to build up use the slow mo in the fighting scenes. It knows when to use it. It doesn't overuse it, which is kind of weird because Zack Snyder is one of those directors that overuse a lot of flashy images and a lot of explosions. He's kind of like a Michael Bay, but trying to force some substance into his films. I said it. I don't care who doesn't like it. I don't give a shit. And as usual, the action scenes in Justice League are very well made. Well, technically, the action scenes in Justice League in this version in Zack Snyder's Justice League is basically the same ones, almost the same ones as the Joss Whedon version of Justice League, but however, they're more cohesive and actually has some frills. And the score actually amps up the tension, the excitement, unlike the Danny Elfman score from the Joss Whedon's Justice League. And also, the film tries to make up this. Also, this film changes the score for completely. Instead of having Danny Elfman compose his score for Justice League, Zack Snyder uses Junkie XL, who, if you don't know who Junkie XL is, he composed the score for one of the greatest action movies of the past decade, which was Mad Max Fury Road. And I gotta say, this film's one of the film's saving graces is the fucking soundtrack. It's a fucking score by Junkie XL. It really gives the film momentum. It really builds up. It really gives the sense of awe with its score. And especially, it has a different score for every one of the superheroes. And it actually it feels like you're actually listening to a superhero theme that feels its own. It doesn't try to copy the style of Hans Zimmer's in the Christopher Nolan trilogy or something like that, trying to make it all gritty. No, it has its sense of awe and epicness towards those scores, and that caught me off guard. Even though I'm not gonna lie, some of the scenes where it didn't use the score, where it actually had some songs playing in the background, I think they were very misplaced. There's one scene in particular where Flash is rescuing this woman from a fatal car accident, and the song it uses, I didn't understand it. I mean, it wasn't a bad song, but I don't think that's the kind of song that fits this type of scenario. I was like, what the hell was Zack Snyder thinking? But that's just me. Um, Another thing that I like about this film is that it actually has some character arcs. When I say character arcs, I basically mean is that some of the background characters. I say background characters because technically, despite being this Justice League, most of the characters like Cyborg, Flash, or Aquaman were all given were all treated like background characters in the Josh Whedon version. In this one, it actually one of the characters that actually has a very compelling arc. I'm actually surprised to say it has a compelling arc, which was Cyborg, which is played by Ray Williams or Ray Jones. I don't know his fucking name. Um, and he has one of the most compelling arcs in a superhero film I've seen. I know, and why? Because you actually feel it's not just through the guy's performance, but it's also through the how well established the character arc of Cyborg is. It actually gives time to establish how he was, who he was before the fateful accident he had that caused his father to transform him into Cyborg, and it also shows the struggles that Cyborg goes through, how he tries to fit in a society that treats him as an outcast because he's not comfortable being with the way he looks, and he's not comfortable with the fact that his father make him like that because his father tried to save his life, even though he and his father doesn't have a very unified relationship. They have a very dysfunctional relationship. In typical blockbuster films where it always has the one of the main characters who has a very flawed relationship with his father. His father never spent times with him. He's always focused on work and all that. And throughout the film, they slowly begin to fix that broken relationship and begin to establish a deep bond. So yeah, it happens here as well with Cyborg and his dad, but at least it gives a shit about the character Cyborg. At least it lets Cyborg develop as a character and gives him the film's heart and soul, which I was surprised because, to be honest, most Zack Snyder films are not emotionally involving for me. I wasn't very emotionally involved with Batman vs Superman, especially when spoiler alerts. Ugh. Anyway, when Superman dies, for the sakes of the ending of the film, when he dies, I'm supposed to be like emotionally involved, like, oh my god, Superman died. Like, dude, I could give a shit if Superman died. He just died. I'm not gonna be like, oh, broken and crying about it. I'm just like, well, Superman died. But he'll resurrect because, he's Superman. They'll need him for another film. And which is technically what happened. And Superman is not my and yeah, his films are not emotionally involving, and this film, besides having this cyborg compelling character arc, it tries to be emotionally involving with the other characters, but it doesn't work as well. It tries to have this compelling scenes with Lois Lane showing her grief over losing Clark Kent and Superman, and you feel like, what's the point of these scenes? They're supposed to show how much she's grieving, and now she's gonna. And then one scene, Martha Kent comes to Lois Lane's apartment and tells her that she should return back to the living and keep on working and be inspired. Do not let, and because that's what Clark would have wanted from her, to move on. And I didn't give a shit about it. I didn't give a shit about her, about the scenes. Also, I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about it when it was in Joss Whedon's Justice League. So I would less give a shit about it when I saw it here when Superman Resurrects is supposed to be a big awe-inspiring moment, but I don't see any of it. And it was just like, yeah, Superman is basically turned from a character that could have been compelling, that his return will actually spike up, amp up the excitement, the emotions, the all the emotions to be building that's been building up throughout the film. It doesn't. It simply resurrects Superman, and Superman, instead of being treated like a character, he's treated more of a Deus ex machina, who needs to be resurrected so he can fight. Steppenwolf. And speaking of Steppenwolf, I actually love that they improved the designs. He looks more intimidating, but just because they improve Steppenwolf's designs and makes him a little bit more intimidating, and his voice actually sounds like an intimidating villain that could actually come up and fight the Justice League. His the scenes with him, I didn't give a shit about him either. I didn't find him compelling as well. The only thing we actually know about Steppenwolf is that he failed Darkseid in the past, and he's trying to collect the mother boxes and in order to impress Darkseid, so Darkseid can come to the world, to Earth, and destroy the planet in search for the. I don't know. I don't fucking care, to be honest. I didn't care much about the plot. Um, and I was like, okay, seriously, so much, so 4 hours, and they didn't get Steppenwolf like a very compelling villain backstory that maybe he has some doubts or anything. No, um, he's not complex. It's just a one dimensional villain trying to take over the world, and that's it. And I thought, and I was like, really? Like, really? 4 hours, and they couldn't develop Steppenwolf's character a lot better. Not saying that the voice that Ciarán Hinds did an awful job voicing Steppenwolf, because he was very good, but I expected more from this 4 hours. Come on, you could develop Steppenwolf more. It's 4 hours. You can do a lot more in 4 hours. That's just me asking. That's just me saying. That's just me. And the acting is very good for the most part. To be honest, I'm not very fond of most of the actors in this film. I'm not very fond of Jason Momoa, but he gave a very solid performance as Aquaman. I think he had the charisma. He had this rough guy exterior who deep down he acts like who on the outside he acts like he doesn't give a shit, but deep down he really does give a shit. But he just doesn't want to come face to it. He wants to keep up his pride and not having to acknowledge that come to face with what he's destined to be, which is being the king of Atlantis, to be a hero. He doesn't want that, but that's what. But he knows he's destined to it, and he's pissed off about it. But sooner or later, he has to come to face of it. Gal Gadot, as usual, she was very great in this film. She actually gave in the few moments where Wonder Woman is actually given something to do, she actually gives her a bit of depth and emotion towards the role of Wonder Woman, which is something that I didn't see much from the Wonder Woman 1984 film. But in this one, I finally see some of that emotion and depth that she added to the character in the first Wonder Woman. Also, my favorite actor of the whole cast is Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller is one of the most underrated actors working today. I mean, the guy has range. Let's be honest. The guy can play from a psychopathic teenager about to commit a high school massacre, and we need to talk about Kevin, to playing the standout character in the film The Perks of Being a Wallflower, by being this lovable, eccentric character. And he actually carries the character Flash. He gives the character some well needed humor that doesn't attempts to force the humor. It actually comes more naturally. Because it's the Flash character, and Flash is designed to be a more of an upbeat character, so it makes sense that he says some funny one-liners and stuff. It makes sense, and Ezra Miller actually nails that. But also in the scenes where he needs to be all serious and feeling the weight of the world is on his shoulders, and feeling the weight, you actually feel the struggles he's going through, as he knows he has to do the right thing. He's scared, but at the same time he has to do it because he's a hero, and that's what heroes are supposed to do: willing to make sacrifices. Ben Affleck, well, he struggles to give a solid performance as Batman. Kind of like the same issue I had with Ben Affleck's performance in Josh Whedon's Justice League. I have it here. He doesn't seem that motivated. It's like, Ben Affleck's trying. He's like, look, Ben Affleck is not a bad actor, but he looks like he's really trying to give it his all, but it just doesn't work. And Henry Cavill, well, in the few moments he's on screen and stuff, which is basically in the film's climax and in most of the film's third hour, I gotta be honest, I'm not very fond of Henry Cavill, and I don't care if people don't like what I'm about to say, but I think he's one of the most mediocre actors working today. Don't get me wrong, he has the great physique for playing Superman, but he doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have the emotional depth. He doesn't even when Superman is supposed to be intimidating in the scene where he fights the Justice League, I don't feel that. I don't feel he's intimidating. I just feel like he's doing it for the sake of getting paid for doing this film. And when Henry Cavill tries to add emotional depth, it feels forced. It feels like he's trying to do the best he can, but like Ben Affleck, it just doesn't work. I don't think he's that good of an actor. And to play the role of Superman, he needs to have warmth. He needs to have complex emotions, have charisma, have likability, and I don't see none of that in Henry Cavill's performance. All I see is more of a physical performance, and I don't see nothing of that. Even though the film itself doesn't develop a lot of Superman. Well, to be honest, Superman isn't in a lot of the film, but in the moments that you try to add the emotional weight of Superman, like finally getting to be with Lois Lane and getting to see Martha again, and finally acknowledging that he's Superman and that he has to do the right thing and go stop Steppenwolf. I didn't give a shit. I just feel like, yeah, like, okay, predictable. Superman sooner or later is gonna acknowledge who he really is and do the right thing, and that's it. But I didn't feel any emotional weight. Sometimes in films, the writing can be a bit tedious, but it's the actors that gives them the much needed depth towards the characters and makes it a more three-dimensional character. And I don't feel like Henry Cavill is actually capable of giving a three-dimensional performance towards as Superman, nor as Clark Kent. He's not Christopher Reeve, And this film, another thing that I have issues with this film is the fact that the film's after everything ends, the epilogue, it feels eternal. It pulls a Return of the King epilogue where it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and over again, with showing all the main characters having different endings. And in one, there's Jesse Eisenberg, who plays Lex Luthor. He escapes on Arkham in the Arkham Asylum, and he meets Deathstroke, and he gives Deathstroke the real name of Batman. He tells him that Batman is Bruce Wayne and all that. And I gotta be honest, Joe Manganiello, or he was born to play Deathstroke. He has the physique, and I think the guy has the acting chops to back it up, like Henry Cavill here. And but Jesse Eisenberg tries so hard to play this menacing and really intellectually dominating character of Lex Luthor. He doesn't have the arrogance, and it doesn't feel like he's playing Lex Luthor. He's just playing like it's Jesse Eisenberg being Jesse Eisenberg talking to Deathstroke. And to be honest, it was one of the most disappointing scenes of the film. Another aspect that I really, really kind of like, I must say, I had mixed feelings about it, was the nightmare sequence where we get to see Jared Leto's Joker once again. And this time he's actually doesn't have the tattoo of mental illness put on stamp on his forehead. He has long hair. He looks more damaged. It has a distinctive laugh, even though the fucking laugh feels the same as Suicide Squad. But in here, Jared Leto actually does give a decent performance as Joker. Not saying he's gonna be, he gives one of the best interpretations of Joker, because let's be honest, he only appears in the film for only a few minutes, and that's it. In a few minutes that's in there, the interactions between Jared Leto's Joker and Ben Affleck's Batman, which surprisingly gives us a very intimidating Batman in those moments. Not for the rest of the film, but in those moments, you can actually feel the rage boiling inside Batman. So he really wants to punch Joker, because Joker keeps taunting him over knowing where all the people or his loved ones that have died before, and you can see the rage boiling inside him. And it's like, holy shit, he just keeps taunting him and taunting him. And Jared Leto actually, as a Joker, at least gives him some on the trademark Joker quips, like he pulls a car, he starts saying quotes that Joker will actually say, that the Joker will actually say. And with that, it actually gives a decent performance. I still not very fond of Jared Leto's Joker, and I probably won't be, because I still think that Jared Leto tries too hard to play this very rough and psychopathic and scary approach towards the Joker. And during this nightmare sequence, it kind of works, and it doesn't work when he starts laughing. It reminds me of the laugh of Suicide Squad, and really, really takes me out of the moment. It makes me realize, that's Jared Leto's Joker from Suicide Squad all over again. It takes me off the moment, and I can't, and I really don't like that, because I can't. Because I was really digging into his performance as his few on-screen minutes as the Joker. I was really starting to dig in. Then I hear him laugh, and I'm like, yep, he's still the Jared Leto from Suicide Squad. Fuck it. It's all gone. But I gotta say, besides that, the nightmare sequence was well done, and holy shit, I get some huge Injustice vibes when I see Alden facing Superman with his red eyes glowing, and I was like, holy shit, this is gonna get real. And then it turns out to be a nightmare sequence, which I think it could, if Zack Snyder actually keeps up making follow-ups towards his Justice League in the future, which I really doubt, because I heard rumors that he won't do it. He wants to be he's actually making a film now. He's once again returning to making a zombie films, which I'm okay with. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Zack Snyder, but Dawn of the Dead, 2004 Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder version, actually pretty good. Not better than Dawn of the Dead of George Romero's, but it's pretty good. So I think that with that in mind, let him do what Zack Snyder do whatever the hell he wants. If he wants to keep making follow-ups or his own Justice League, then let him do it. If he doesn't, then good for him. But at least, for better or worse, Zack Snyder got to show the vision he intended for audiences to watch of Justice League. And it gives me hope that even though Justice League is not a masterpiece, but it gives me hope that studios can actually once again grow a pair and let directors make their visions as they intended to. Let them make their visions. Stop trying to interfere with their work. You know, ironically, they interfere with their works because they claim they know what's right for the audience. And by doing that, they interfere with the director's work and they don't and technically they ruin the film trying to save time by giving what the audiences want, and by doing that, they trim down the film, taking out many aspects that the audience wants to see, and fucking up the film. And then the poor directors are all frustrated and are understandably frustrated because their vision got trimmed out by studio executives because they think they know what they're doing when it comes about knowing what the audience wants. That they don't let people do their jobs. They don't let directors go with their vision. And I like the fact that Zack Snyder, like I said, not a huge fan of him, but I am so glad that Zack Snyder got to make the film he wanted to make. I'm glad that now people are seeing it, and I'm gonna say it has rewatchability. This film is entertaining for all its flaws. This is a very entertaining film, and the 4 hours, I'm surprised. For a 4 hour long film, this film passes by quickly. It's entertaining, it's cohesive, it knows when to add the humor, and even though I forgot one thing. One thing that I didn't like about I found really stupid about this Justice League was that it was rated R. And I thought when I said, holy shit, it's rated R, shit's gonna be real. I saw the film and it's barely that violent. I mean, there are other films from Zack Snyder that are way, way more violent than fucking Justice League of all Zack Snyder. So that's all I have to say about Zack Snyder's Justice League, also known as the Snyder Cut. So as usual, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Also, the names of my social media accounts are going to be on the description down below as well. I'm the Lazy Reviewer, and thanks for watching.